Ha, ha, ha. All right, all right, all right. You guys, we're doing it. We're here. We're here. Can I get a little raise the roof if you can hear me? Yeah. All right, one more time. Yeah, press it up. Woo! Y'all made it. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. I am Adam Dorsey. I am your moderator for this evening. You have reached Mind Sports by WeDeepen and your friends Adam Dorsey and Indy Rishi Singh. I'm so glad you guys can make it all here tonight. I'm going to go through. I just want to take a look at some of you guys. I have two screens set up for me. I have my phone here in which I'm doing this and talking to you guys. And then I have the computer on which I will be talking to you guys via the chat. And so, well, Adam, what does that mean? Well, that means that you guys are in this discussion. It is not just about the people on the panel, although the people on the panel, y'all are some fantastic people, but we have some really great people that are viewing. And part of Mind Sports in this forum that we've created is about getting the discussion to be extended to all of us. And so tonight you are a part of said discussion, and we have ourselves, I had to wear the Hulkamania bandana tonight because we are in spiritual WrestleMania. It is politics v love. Can the two coexist? And so that is the debate forum tonight with which we will be discussing. You as the people that are enjoying the crowd, I will be in the chat with you guys, stoking up some questions for you to get involved. And so we'll have like 60-second shares for you guys to come in and ask a question or do a heart share or something that I think is a really good prompt for our discussion. That being said, if you can, go into your name right now, and I will do so with you, because I haven't done it yet either. And change your name to your name plus your Instagram username. That way we can all become friends, because friendship is the best ship, right? So this is also, I'll make a note for us, this is a new experience for WeDeepen. And so if there's some sort of technical difficulties, we'll do our best to handle it, be gracious with us, and stay involved. The more you can both be involved in the chat and listen, we're going to have a really cool experience. This is sort of a one-of-a-kind type of experience that I have been helping out with for a couple months and just love, because we have an opportunity to share ideas, to grow ideas, and to do so in a manner where we're safe to express ourselves. So if you're all down with that, give me a little shaka. Yeah. And also one last note before I turn it over, I'm wearing a new unicorn shirt today because the unicorn is my favorite mythical creature. You know what it is my second favorite mythical creature? An honest politician. Oh. Also, this is a good time to note that you all have to laugh at my jokes. All of you. All of you have to laugh at my jokes. Speaking of jokes, our host tonight, one of my best friends in the whole world, a wonderful human being, a social engineer, a meditation teacher, a laughter meditation teacher, and just an all-around swell dude. He always smells like peppermint. Mr. Indy Rishi Singh. For love.
Wow. Are you ready for spiritual WrestleMania, Adam? We're gonna get down. We got politics on one side, we got love on the other side. Who's gonna win this battle here?
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine we're like Vince McMahon? Was it McMahon right here?
Yes, it's Vince McMahon.
I feel like Vince McMahon right now. All right, guys, here we go. We got these two sides here. We're gonna go at it. But yeah, thanks, Adam, man. Thank you for introducing everybody and getting everybody started here. I think it's really important that we have this conversation and in the chat, but also just having this conversation is fun. This is neuroplasticity at its finest, in my opinion, is when we stretch our neurons and the way we think and also listen to others. So obviously there's gonna be some agreements we're gonna go over, but before we even get into that, Adam, can I share something with you, bro?
Oh, sharing is caring, brother. I love when you share. Can you share with me?
But man, some of my other nickname is the Trigger Man. That's my alter ego villain. is the trigger
Oh,
man.
okay.
So,
I like that.
okay. But like, but I won't go there. But I will say this, you know, the funny thing about this experience, right? And like, like my opinion in with all this is, man, bro, I freaking care, dude. I care when people suffer. Like, I feel it so much. Do you know?
I know.
Like,
That's the art of being an empath, my friend.
but like, you know what? There's got to be a better way to make it so less people are suffering. You know, like intelligence.
Yeah.
You know? So with that being said, like I really like this topic is really important to me, and like my perspective is totally wide open. I love everybody as much as I possibly can. I try my best to spread that and my ability, my tolerance for more people. But I certainly think, man, we have a lot of cool shit. We have technology, we have like cool, awesome cultures, we have amazing food, music, dance. There's like so many different types of physical intelligence things we could teach. Oh my God, there's like so much potential, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, bro, like here we are, love and politics. Like if we could get to the core, do you know Brene Brown?
No.
She was having a conversation with Russell Brand, and like I was kind of like downloading this a few weeks ago, and she like said, Brene Brown told them like straight up, we're like having a spiritual crisis. Like spirituality is disconnected from politics.
Yeah.
Like, and like if that happens, what happens, guys? Like I think we're seeing it. You know, we're seeing a lot of that disassociation when spirituality and politics is separated. So man, this is why I care about this. Like it's serious to me, but also man, like we gotta have fun with this and like kind of like stretch into it. You know, we gotta do some yoga into this space. What do you think?
Absolutely. So maybe we'll start with a joke. What's Matthew McConaughey's political affiliation?
Oh no.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Alt right.
All right. Dude, he would be a great in the spiritual WrestleMania. Can you imagine Matt McConaughey up in there? Going at it with Bill Gates. It's like, oh shit. Bill Gates is like, I am a robot, 11000. And you're like, Matthew McConaughey's like, all right. Dude.
Yeah, McConaughey comes out with the bongo drum. Bill Gates comes out with like the injections.
Exactly. It's quite possible. I mean, I don't know, man. You never know with this stuff. You never know. Okay, so you know, I want to definitely bring up some agreements for the participants today. And I guess in a lot of ways too, these agreements don't just go for them, but it goes for everybody, and even in the chat, because when people pop on, like let's have an understanding. So, Adam, you know, I'm all about rules, right? Like,
oh yeah, you're all about rules.
All about the rules, man.
All about the rules.
Do not bend the rules or break them or alter them. So let's go with these rules, but let me get everybody in the audience to do it with me. So let's do some mudras. So let's do a mudra for the mindset of kindness. So everybody put their number one up. Oneness, one love, ja love, baby, one love. So we're all gonna have a mindset of kindness. Let me see y'all. And you can do pangra with it. You can do like, oi. Like are the Punjabis out there, you know? Cool. And with the farmers. So, okay, you guys got it? Okay, cool. Second one is you guys can do this thing. Everyone practices the art of listening. Okay. So the art of listening, we're all going to practice listening, and we're going to practice the art of it. So you could do peace. You could do this, right? You could do the double. I can't even do that one. Right. All right, cool. You guys got it? Excellent. Art of listening. Third one, but not the least, don't take yourselves too seriously. All right. Have fun. Yeah. Can we do that? Let's do number 3. Let's do number 3. 3-pointer. 3-pointer. All right. Good. We got everybody? Cool. Don't take yourself seriously. All right. If you need to dance, if you need to shake your shoulders, sometimes that helps. Awesome. Are we good to go? We're all agreed. We got this thing rolling. All right, cool. So now that we have this, we're going to start off with some introductions of the different debaters. We're going to go through each one, give them an opportunity to also share a couple minutes to share about like where their stance is, and kind of share where they're going to be before we kind of go up into like, we have questions prepared for them as well. So first we just get them to introduce themselves, and I get to introduce them. I love that power. Just kidding. To be humble with it too. Right, Adam, got to be humble too. That's like the crazy, you know, tough part about it.
Oh, I'm the most humble. Okay, the most humble person you'll ever meet. I'm number one. I have the highest humility of any human being. I'm number one. Okay, probably have the most humility. Okay.
Dude, Adam, actually, what would happen if Trump took LSD? Like, what would?
That's a different mind sports, brother.
Right? Like, what if that happened? Like, he'd be like, I'm like the most humblest in the world, and I'm just so with the oneness.
I realized that everything is one. I am part of the one. It's never gonna happen.
You never know. Hey, listen, you know, maybe he might be listening right now. And, hey,
should I launch the first poll?
Yeah. Oh my God, Christina. Yeah, launch the poll. Sweet. Christina out there. Oh my gosh. Thank you. By the way, everybody, let's take a moment to thank Christina and the whole team at WeDeepen for helping to create this space and like organizing this, making this possible. Christina, thank you for being a beacon of community. Like, holy cow, man, you create community. Wow.
Well, you guys, I'm so sorry. You know, in this thing, the poll number 1 was listed as the closing poll.
No, hey, listen, whoever answered it, delete it from your memory, please.
There we go. The first poll.
Delete.
What's the purpose of politics?
Whoa.
Allocate resources, create unity, organize people, control people.
Ooh.
Nothing. It's absolute nonsense.
Hey, what? I love how that last one is actually that sentence is absolute. There's like 2 negative words, right? 2 negatives make a positive, right? So it's like saying the opposite of what it says. What?
That's politics for you.
Oh man, we're gonna get into that politics, dude. Yo, Adam.
Yeah.
Why is it called politics? Like, why is it so similar to ticks? That's the thing that really bothers me with it.
I just figured there's poly means many, right? And ticks is ticks.
I used to think that, dude. I'm up to like 19 years old. I thought that.
So what does poly mean?
Poly many, I guess.
I mean, I think polyamorous, right?
Poly
means
many.
Right?
Many
ticks.
Many ticks. What the heck, bro? That's not cool. I'm not okay with that. We might have to reframe that word.
Maybe in text as in like technology, maybe tech.
Politics.
Many tools.
Oh, many tools.
There you go.
That. Maybe somebody in the chat wants to like research it in like Wikipedia or Dictionary Oxford or etymology.com.
Hey, one last note for my folks in the chat. In order, when we do go to the folks in the audience for questions, in order for you to ask a question, I need to be able to see your face. And so you don't have to have your camera on the whole time, but if you want to ask a question, please turn the camera on. And
so the root word of politics.
Yes.
It comes from a Greek word, and it means city. Polis, P-O-L-I-S, means city. And the term was organized to mean like the affairs of the city. That's where it comes from.
Listen, I thought it was about a bunch of bugs. Bunch of bugs.
Damn, those bugs, man, they show up everywhere.
We have 69% of people have voted who is in the space. So we're going to close the poll. 69%, of course. So if you haven't voted in the poll, vote now. And I'm going to end the poll and we'll see, and we'll continue on.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm looking at this poll and I got to say, whoa, 45% allocate and organize people. That's pretty awesome. I could say like, that's pretty good. Okay.
Only 2 people thinks it's for nothing. It's complete nonsense.
Or that means it's complete everything. It could be like, it's all everything. That one. I don't know, man. I'm so confused on that one myself. Awesome, you guys. So with this being said, I think we can get this party. What do you think, Adam? Should we get this party started?
I mean, as McConaughey would say, all right.
All right. T minus 2 seconds. We're gonna get launch here. All right, Mind Sports. You're ready? WrestleMania, spiritual WrestleMania. Here we go. Christina, is there anything else? Are we good to go?
I entered the poll. Allocate resources came in at 45%. There was.
Christina, there's some police are after you. You got to get out of there.
Get out, Christina. They know about this already.
In second came organized people at 40%, and then control people at 10%. That's what purpose do politics play? Control people 10%. 10% say that. And nothing, it's absolute nonsense is another 10% chose that answer. Only 5% said that politics is to create unity.
Whoa, damn, son. Damn.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Adam, let's dive into this. I got some questions, but let's actually start with this whole first human being on this thing. Actually, the first person we talked about this with, about coming on board and being one of the debaters, Saatvik. Saatvik, what's up, man?
Hey, brother, how's it going? It's an honor to be here with everybody.
Yeah.
What a cool space.
Dude, wait, hold on. Before you get started, I first got to just say, like, first of all, there's like, since I know you, I have to give a personal anecdote, and then I also have to give a professional anecdote. Okay, is that okay? Is that?
Yeah, you got it.
All right. So first of all, like, Saatvik and I, the first time we freaking met, this is kind of a testament to what kind of human being he is. The first time he comes, he just is accompanying his partner on a trip, you know, like just to support her. She's a big actress, whatever. She's trying to do acting, and I was a part of like helping my nephew put together a short film. And the short film, do you remember that short film, Saatvik?
I do. I was Muhammad, I think, and I wore the thing to cover my face that we were like not showing any faces.
Bro, but you weren't supposed to be in it. Like you were just coming to like accompany and be supportive and just being a supportive human being, like so loving and supportive. And we basically had a scene where my nephew, well, I guess the scene just was a restaurant meeting where all the different spiritual leaders like Muhammad, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, they were all Moses, they were all having meeting like Seinfeld style at a cafe, and they were coming there to meet with God. And we didn't have a Muhammad, and Muhammad flaked that day, and this guy steps up. And dude, Saatvik, that right there told me a lot, that like, hey, you were so diplomatic about it. Like everything about it, you were so respectful. It was such a fun project. We had fun, but also you like showed that like, yeah, you show up for your community, you listen, you're a very pragmatic, organized, strategic human being. Like you got that part down, right? The logical side, but it was cool to see you being soft and receptive and like being able to mold and move with that moment. So I really respect that, Saatvik. First of all,
that.
All right. So second thing is digital strategist. You're a freaking digital strategist for Progress, Texas, which is like, we're talking about like in Texas, y'all. Hey, Adam, we're talking about Texas, bro. Adam.
All right.
I think I might have some help for you right there. If you need some digital strategy, we got Adam. If you need a Matt McConaughey supporting this initiative, you know.
Well, you know, he might be running for governor.
I'll be in Austin next week.
Matt might be running for governor in 2022.
All right. It's more like a Borat McConaughey baby, right? But Saatvik, like, so your background though, you go back, you've been very supportive of supporting like a lot of global initiatives. You're part of Youth Trade, doing some amazing work with them. You know, I'm sure throughout this whole process that some of that stuff will come up, but like, I also want to acknowledge that how you've always been showing up, whether it was in Lexington running for office, and we met another way where you were running for a city council office, and then
you made my video.
Wow, I did like another lifetime ago. Yeah, but you were just awesome. You're like already at a young age. You're one of the youngest people being involved with city. This is before people were getting involved with cities, right? And stuff. So you're ahead of the game, ahead of the curve. So I want to honor you in that. And yeah, please go ahead. Please, you have the table for a minute or two. Please share where you stand and whatever I said, if that resonates.
Well, it definitely does. And again, like, I really appreciate being able to be in this space, because I think, you know, when Indy and I were talking, he had asked me to join an earlier Mind Sports, which is like a red versus blue kind of thing. And I was like, man, we're right next to the election. We can't do it. Also, like, I want to look forward. What happens next? And there's a song I've been listening to a lot called "Dirty" by Grandson. And one of the choruses says, "Do you have enough love in your heart to go and get your hands dirty?" Now, I don't think that politics has to be dirty, especially like the lower down you go. Like, I think, you know, when you go up there, I don't know what happens. I've not been there myself. But I think that the kernel of like why people get involved and why I got involved is because I loved my community and I wanted to see it get better. That's why I ran for selectman, ran for town meeting, which I held office for. It's why I've moved I've only moved for love. I've followed my wife to Philadelphia and then now here to Austin, which is what brought me here. And in each space, in each city and state I moved to, it was how can I get involved to make sure the community that I'm in, I leave it better than I found it. And I think, you know, we talk about finding leaders to be in politics. I think that is where we get it really backwards. We need to find servants who we elevate into leadership. And I think that is like at the crux of why our politics are really dysfunctional. We focus on folks who are able to get attention, which is, it's a skill. I mean, actually, that's like one of my skills because I do marketing. But it's not the skill you need for leadership. And if you want to have politicians who are leaders, then like you're going the wrong direction. And that's where politics is all about power. And what I'm really excited to do right now is hear from all the love folks and figure out not why politics is wrong or love is wrong, but why these two things need to be brought together if we're really going to have an equitable and just society in the future. So Indy, Adam, the whole WeDeepen team, sorry, it's great that you all put this together. Question, what is the thing on language? Because sometimes like words come out of my mouth and I don't know who the audience is exactly.
Good question, Christina. Wait, we have a goddess in the sky.
Yeah.
Goddess in the sky. Are we allowed to say crazy stuff?
I was just about to start ranting curse words. You can say whatever you want. This is a real space for real people. So if it flows out of you authentically, say it. I'm not going to start ranting them because that might just be a little bit silly.
Totally.
But whatever happens.
Yeah. Okay. No, perfect. That's.
I'm not responsible if the big big tech corporations censor you. Like I can't.
They probably are. They're censoring us right now, probably. Facebook.
They're like, wait a second, we're on Facebook.
It's just radio and television. Not a fan of Facebook.
Yeah, Saatvik. So do you feel complete? Shall we continue?
Yeah, let's get it on. Let's do this thing.
All right, man. Thank you, brother. Okay. So next, but not least, in the corner, Adam, who do we got in the corner, the love side? We know this person. We've studied under her. She's been a master yogi.
Is it Kumi Yogini?
Kumi Yogini! Kumi, first of all, holy cow, holy moly. Like, it's so cool that we have like 2 of your students are now here, like being like, oh my God, being able to honor you and like share your beauty, your grace, your wisdom. Oh man, amazing. Thank you for being out here and doing this.
So much for making it happen and following your dharma, and yeah, just allowing us to come together and brainstorm ideas and expand and elevate our consciousness.
Man, I'm all about expanding. I'll tell you that. I expand too much sometimes. That's the problem. I gotta come track too, you know? Kumi, I have to really honor you though for a moment and let everybody know that like she runs one of the most amazing yoga centers in LA. I would say, I was looking around a lot for a yoga studio to practice yoga teacher training. So like Kumi, like I was practicing a lot of discernment to get to you, you know? And I have to say the Veda Yoga Center in Culver City is amazing. Just to go practice. They're doing a lot of like video stuff now. That's really phenomenal. But the space itself was such a beautiful, hopefully that gets opened up soon, or you guys get to do outdoor yoga or whatever. Cause you and all the other teachers are so amazing. So it's a testament to you, how amazing the teachers are that teach and that end up learning from you and from the space. Oh my God, it's amazing what you do. But you also have a background with core power yoga. You were like supporting that initiative grow in Colorado, and you brought that to LA, and you traveled the world, man. You went to China and did yoga at a yoga conference in China. Like, and you went to India. You've been like so deeply involved with India and doing stuff in India. Man, there's so much I could go on and on about you, but thank you for showing up for your community, for being what you are, for like practicing yoga and the way you do. It's awesome, Kumi. So thank you. Thank you.
You.
Please, you got the table. Like, share anything else, whatever, please.
I don't know. Well, my name is Kumi. I started, I guess for me, politics. I didn't get involved at a younger age, but seeing how it divided people. That's kind of what I came up against whenever we'd have conversation in politics, either at family or with friends. I was always really present to a lot of separation and divisiveness. So for me, when I found yoga, it felt to me like the first time that I was able to connect with like minds. And to me, community is so important. And I might not be able to impact the world through politics. It just it's not my calling, but I am able to impact the world and our community through this practice of yoga, which I have myself found incredible healing, and it's expanded my mind philosophically, and taking the concepts and allowing me to create space to hold for other people as well with different opinions. And yeah, so I guess for me, that is, it's my way of making a difference in the world. And I think everybody can do it in a different way and has a different calling. And I just am really committed to sharing what has so profoundly impacted me in this life. And it's through the practice of yoga. So.
Yeah. And you're the best at it.
And I have to say, Kumi, your hair is like beautiful, perfect right now. Like, whoa.
Shampoo in there, so.
It's like I really just want to touch it and like be like, whoa, it's like golden, dude. Amazing.
Indy, relax, move on.
That's amazing. All right, here we go. So Kumi, thank you so much. We'll be bringing you back on and we'll like get the thing rolling. For now, let's keep it flowing. Let's swing it over to the politics side. And we've got Aura. Aura. Oh my God. We got in this corner. We've got the Aura. Aura.
Hey guys.
Aura, what aura are you right now?
I think I'm feeling pretty like red orange right now.
Ooh, that's a good color. It's like, I love oranges. So personally, they're so healthy.
It's like a fiery aura, I guess. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I'm going to let you go and give your stance. But before that, I have to acknowledge your background. You've been so involved in the community for so long, like being involved in your personal community, traveling around, going to New York, working for United Way, working in DC. Oh my gosh, you've like been involved with the Sierra Club, which is amazing. So you've actually like been involved with being with the ecosystem and the connecting with the earth and understanding there's importance there and justice and importance there. But then you've also gone and worked for the Center for Popular Democracy in DC, which was like, holy cow, that's a whole other thing. And I'm sure maybe you might share some insight that you've learned from there with us. But then you've been involved as a commissioner. You've been involved in like all kinds of government positions. And now lately you've just been running for offices. Wait, did you just announce, Aura, that you're running for something?
Yes. So hi everyone, I'm Aura Vasquez. I am a native from Colombia, for those of you that want to know. And I have been in Los Angeles and California for now over a decade, working on many different issues. Like Indy said, I'm a huge tree hugger. I'm not like any other tree hugger. And I'm also a dancer. So if that matters, being in the political team, you it's all sorts of skills at this point, So yeah, I ran actually for city council in Los Angeles in the last election cycle. And I just announced my run for California Democratic Delegate, which is a super important thing. But I just full disclaimer, I was one of those Democrat haters that didn't think that the party was doing enough and they sucked. And, it was a big, more progressive, candidate. So I thought, well, if you can change them, train them. So I figured I'd join them. So now I'm gonna run for delegate. So I hope everybody can join me and we can dance our way through the the political process, I guess.
What? Amazing. And you're in. Here you are. Awesome. Thank you. All right. We're going to come back to you in a moment. Hold on. Hold your horses. Thank you, Ada, for making that announcement too and letting everybody know. Hopefully people can support you if they're even listening and they're in your area. That'd be amazing. Okay. Next, but not the least, we're going to bring on Abram. Abram.
Hey, Rishi. Thanks so much for bringing me on here.
Wow, man. Thank you. I mean, look, what I know about you, you're an amazing artist, right? Like, I know that you like make phenomenal art, like visual, amazing, cool, freaking cool art. Just the fact that we met in a cool space where art and community and cryptocurrency and technology converge, that says a lot about you because you were so welcome in that space. So I must honor that. I don't know deeply into you, but I do know from the little bit I know that like, wow, like he's a cool dude. And that's why you're here to also represent love. You've been so important in that space. space, and especially being in that the community, the decentralized kind of spiritual community that exists. So maybe you could share more and your stance.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So just as a full stop, though, this is not my art behind me. So, I feel like the reason I'm here is because I'm undergoing a bit of a spiritual transformation myself. And I believe that the only way forward in politics is to transform the individual, essentially. And through that, then we can transform our communities. I haven't been very, I've always been fairly politically aware. I've lived in many different countries. I spent 4 years in China, and that kind of, I started to see a lot of parallels between Chinese politics, American politics, which I was not expecting at all. And when I came back to the US and seeing how unorganized we are and how divisive we are, that really made me feel like the importance of really taking steps forward to make the situation better is paramount right now.
Well, that's why you're here, man. Part of the conversation. And I have to admit, this transformation that we're seeing, you're going to start making it available for others as a coach, a transformational coach.
That's right.
I hope you don't turn people into transformers, because I don't know. I don't think we're ready for it.
That's a different service I offer, but
more than meets the eye. All right. Thank you, Abram. Hold on. Hold your horses. All right. Let's swing over. Our last debater, we have Kate Ross. Oh, Adam, you want to make an introduction for Kate Ross?
Yes, I would. Kate Ross is a dear friend of mine that I know through Ecstatic Dance. And I give you just so much credit, Kate, for who you are as a human being and showing up the way that you do. Kate did a really good service. One of the things you hear people talk about is like, go out and get the vote. Right? Go out and vote. They want you to vote, but they don't tell you, get educated on what you're voting about. And so Kate took every single one of the propositions this year and broke them down one by one on Instagram. And I just found that to be such a helpful thing. She's one of the most politically active people that I know. So with no further ado, and she's beautiful, Kate Ross.
Kate, yeah, please
Thank
share your
you.
stance, and thank you. Hello, all those flowers and plants behind you. Hello.
My roommate loves plants and loves to propagate them. So it's funny. I joke that my interest in politics began being driven to daycare in the back of my dad's golf cart, listening to Rush Limbaugh on the radio. So I was definitely engaged in political ideas from a really early age. And I remember like taking my mom to like a Republican caucus at age like 14. And, you know, at that time in my life, I was very much in that frame of mind until the time came that I realized that, you know, both parties have deep corruption and both parties have huge hypocrisies, and there are problems on both sides. And you know, I've always voted third party. I've always been a really big advocate for putting your vote away from the two-party system. And I actually worked in the cannabis industry, and I'm also involved with Decriminalize California to decriminalize psilocybin mushrooms here in California. And then I actually went to DC this summer to help them wrap up their initiative, which actually did get passed for all entheogenic plants and fungi. So it's funny because the way that I approach it really is from both sides, where I took a lot of time to try to work on the internal and changing people's hearts and minds and healing on a deeper level, where we can start feeling more love and more understanding and bridging the divide more. But at the same time, I recognize the need to use politics as a tool to access, because right now, so much of our system is just dominated by financial interests, but yet we have so much people power if we could come together. So it is complicated and it is hard when you don't want to put your energy towards something that you feel like isn't going to make any difference. So I think it's really about identifying those routes to actually make a difference within the political system as much as we can.
Yeah, Thank you, Kate. Amazing. And that's like a perfect segue into opening it up to all the debaters. So all of y'all that are here, we're going to start asking some questions to you guys and a little bit more rapid fire. But here's also the guidance for you too, is to listen and respond with kindness. And we usually give you guys about like 2 to 3 minutes to talk. So like, just keep that in mind. You can always stop yourself and you won't get bing. What do we have, Adam, when the runner thing goes off? What happens?
We have a little timer. It's a gong. It will gong you and tell you to move along.
So just say it, if you get gonged, like it's all in love and respect, let's have fun with it. You got gonged. It's good.
You just got gonged.
Just got gonged, bro. My God. That'd be a wonderful thing to do at the beginning of like city hall meetings or like Congress meetings, is gong, like big ass gong.
I just wish that was part of the Trump Biden debate.
Could definitely use that. Or muting mics,
Ooh,
who would have thunk it?
Muting mics. I know, right? So first question, I'm gonna throw this actually at the love people first, and we can have a respond, and then I'm gonna throw in other questions in between your guys' conversation. So if the conversation maybe is being repetitive or like there's a flow, just keep in mind I might like and like guide it in a direction so we keep some questions flowing, and we also get to the audience too eventually. Cool, guys? You guys cool with that? Let me get a little magic fingers from y'all. Magic fingers, magic fingers, magic fingers. All right, cool. You guys got it. Cool. All right. So sometimes I feel like people aren't listening to me, Adam. Is that normal? Adam?
What?
Shit, nobody listens to me. Is anybody here? Am I actually being heard?
You just got gonged.
So, all right, guys, here's the question. I'm going to throw this over to either Kumi or Abram. And this time, by the way, San had to miss this. So it's just you guys holding the fort down. But I feel like Kate and so that I could step in for San. Adam could step in for, step in for San. But you guys can hold it down, Abram and Kumi. So the question is, does love transcend politics?
Yes.
How so?
I think in its truest form, I think that love is the binder of politics, because I think what we're trying to achieve with politics is how to organize, how to create unity. I guess to go off of even that list you had, how we should spend our resources, how we should help others, how should we help ourselves, how should we, in order to help other people, we need to figure out what our priorities are and what's most important to us. And I think at the central element of that is the essence of what that love is.
What about you, Kumi?
I agree with Abram. I think that love does transcend politics. I mean, well, from a Vedic perspective, politics is related to the material world. And so we're dealing with material activities, and love is transcendent to the material world. And for the yogi, we're not trying to be entangled in material existence. We're trying to break free from that. So in a sense, love is higher.
Whoa. Ooh, how about anybody on the politics side have an opinion or a counter opinion about that?
I mean, I definitely agree with Kumi. Like it does have a spiritual, because it is so spiritually rooted. It does transcend politics, but our mission should be to allow it to be as much a part of politics as it can be.
And Aura, you got something there. I see your hand up.
Yeah, so politics is who we are. Politics reflects our values. Politics can exist by itself. So in a way, and for the lovers, yogis out there, politics is us. It wouldn't exist without us. So if indeed we are love, so therefore that is also love. But I mean, you look around and it doesn't sometimes reflects that, because that's not in essence who we are either, because we're not only love, we're also other things.
Oh, Saatvik.
We're spirit. So if politics are connected to the physical body, but we're more than a physical body.
That Aura, did you raise your hand still again, or oh, that's the old one?
I'm trying to lower my hand.
Saatvik, I'm curious about that. Is there a space for spirituality and politics to exist?
Well,
Coexist?
I definitely think so. I mean, if you look at like the civil rights movement, for example, it was born out of like a spiritual tradition, right? That's why many of the leaders were, and I know that religion and spirituality are not the same. So I guess actually maybe what I said is incorrect, but it comes out of this tradition of like, it can come out of tradition of religion. What I wanted to say originally though is that I think politics, whatever perspective or whatever leaning you have, is a byproduct of love, right? Whether you love yourself and thus you want politics to reflect your ability to be an individual, like an island unto yourself, or if you think or if you love your community and you want the politics to reflect that value, like we might not see it that way as an external factor, but I don't think anyone gets into politics without a feeling of love that they themselves have personalized. I might not view it that way, but you are loving something, even someone who is maybe like racist, they love their kind, and that is why they engage with politics to create certain structures, right? So I don't think you can I definitely do think love is beyond politics, because you love things that are not political, right? I love my wife, but that's not a political thing. And I think you don't want to you want to have love in everything you do, and politics is one of the things that we do, but you definitely do not want to have politics in everything that you love, because that's it's a big mistake. And I've never won any political argument with my wife, not because she's always right, just because it's not worth it.
That's a good one.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not good. Very wise man. I've been told that advice many times over by many other wise men. So with that, let me throw this question in there, because I think we could keep going with that, but we'll come back to that question in some ways. Maybe the audience will have something to add in there. So I'm sure, please, you guys keep chatting in the chat and adding those things, because Adam's going to bring that in shortly. But I want to throw this in there. I'm gonna open this up to anybody. So, and by the way, keep in mind, Aura is letting you know that you don't have to put your hand up. Just hop on and speak, right? And we just have to respect each other and just be like, ladies first, kind of thing. But be gentlemen-y and gentlewomen-y, I guess, whatever, right? Is that right, Adam? I guess. What's the best way for someone to show up for their community? What's the best, in your opinion? Go for it.
Can I grab on jump? So I've moved around a lot, Boston to Philadelphia for a few years, Philadelphia to Austin. This is my perspective is as someone who's not from Austin or Philadelphia, but loving those places anyways, is that you don't want to come in and be the savior. So let me tell you a short story. A brother of mine and I would carpool to work every single day. We would see these big smokestacks on the way to our office, and we were curious what those were. Turns out it's one of the biggest trash burning plants in the US, and it was right next to our office in a really poor, predominantly person of color city called Chester. And we're like, let's fix this thing. And I talked to a friend of mine who's a deep organizer. She's like, listen, you cannot fix it. You need to go into the community, meet the folks already doing that work, and then uplift their efforts. And I was like, that's so simple yet so brilliant. So if you're someone who's just moved to a new place, I would suggest definitely do not start your own organization. Do not start some petition on your own. There are people living in your neighborhood, in your town, in your zip code, who are doing that exact work right now. Because for better or worse, I'm not some genius who saw a trash burning plant, which is leading to high cancer rates, high learning disability rates. People already knew that. And then I was able to use my technical skills and my network to uplift those voices and to create a petition for them through them, just adding value where I could. And if you live in, when I was back in Lexington, where I grew up, then that was my community first and foremost. And, you got to ask, what do you love? What are you really passionate about? Who's doing that work? And then show up and say, hey, I want to impact thing X, Y, or Z. What can I do? And you'll be surprised, as much as politics seems so dysfunctional, when you really go and meet the people who are doing the work, the people who run, who actually work in the public office, they're strapped for resources and they want people to help out, and they'll give you the time to like educate you on like what's going on and what you can do. It might take a couple of weeks to figure it out because like things are slow right now, but you can definitely get it done.
I've spoken like a true diplomat, true politician.
It's the political stuff. You know?
And anybody else? Like anybody else got an opinion about that? Best way to show up for your community. Anybody from the other side? Kumi or Abram or even Aura?
Well, I think that everybody has different talents and different gifts and different skills. So tapping into what it is for each individual, that's going to show up differently for each person. So I don't think there's like a right way or wrong way. They're all different, and we just have to, support each other in creating that change and showing up in the community and seems unique and beneficial.
You sound like a politician too. Hey, wait a second. I'm confused. What's going on?
Are you sure you're a yoga teacher?
I do think that there is a good way and a better way. Because, you know, my encouragement for everyone when they come to work with a community, or how do you show up with for your community or somebody else's community, is that please go do the work. Learn about patriarchy, learn about racism, learn about institutions that are making this happening. Learn, like, sit with how comfortable or uncomfortable it is for you to defund the police, for example, or like all this other stuff. Like we're in a world right now where we have technology, we have phones, we have social media, we have like so much. There's no reason why you have to come. There's no reason why to go help a community because you have unfinished business with yourself and you're trying to settle them with other people. And I see this often happening when you work in coalitions and people come with the best intentions in the world. And they want to do so many good things and they have no idea of their place and their position and their privilege. Or they have no idea how they ended up where they ended up. Or they have no idea what their heritage is, or even why they're doing what they're doing. So, you know, it's important that when you show up having a basic understanding of how all these dynamics are playing out. And if you are one of those people that are doing this and you don't want to kind of see it, but you kind of have to because it's everywhere, please open your eyes. It's 2020, for the love of God. We're in the middle of a pandemic. You know, we just had a crazy president for the past 4 years. You know, who knows where we're headed next year, and we don't have time to waste. Ain't nobody has time for that. It's time to really learn that not all women have to carry also, you know, the burden of like moving mountains in order for the world to be better for all of us. I ask all of my fellows here to step up and to also carry that for us, because we are still making less money than men. A lot of us are even making less money than white women. And it's important for us to also learn all those things, because guess what? That's love too.
I that's very interesting you say that. And like at the same time, because I'm surrounded by fiery Latina women these days, and like it's awesome to see that brown spirit come out and that feminine energy come out to also kind of get us into shape and put us into shape. But at the same time, I feel it's important for us to kind of take care of ourselves. But there's also this weird thing happening right now with the pandemic. There's like our nervous systems are being like bombarded right now. All of us, doesn't matter what your ideology is, beyond ideology, all of our nervous systems are in this state of kind of fight or flight going on. Everybody's kind of, I don't know if you guys feel it. There's kind of like, it's insidiously everywhere. So I want to throw this question. First I want to throw this over to the love side. But then I would love for the other side to also take a shot, or maybe if you guys have any comments about what the love side's saying here. But my question for the love side, because I'm curious about this. How do we reconcile with the fear that's going on? The fear of this virus, the fear of each other, the fear, there's fear prevalent. What do you guys, what can we do? Yeah. Kumi or Abram, what do we do about this fear?
The simple answer would be to sit with it And I think that there's an element of observation and acceptance that will give a lot of power. In my experience, that's been a very transformative process of not seeking to identify with it and knowing it's a temporary situation. And to kind of piggyback even on what Kumi was saying before about what we can do is something to take action if we don't know what to do, I think, is to cultivate our gifts and to discover our gifts and find out how we can be most effective. Ultimately, that's going to be something that will help dissipate the fear. And again, connecting with source, realizing that all states of consciousness are permissible. All states of consciousness can be beneficial. So it isn't retreating into a mode of escaping that fear. It's seeing what you can blossom through that, what you can create with that.
Beautiful. Kumi, do you have anything to add?
I would say that good leaders do not lead using society's fear, anger, or hatred, and it only divides society and people. So a progressive society would instead unite and support one another in our differences and not using fear or hatred towards one another. So not giving into selfish pleasures or pain, but instead for what's better for the world's future.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll piggyback on that. I'm just going to jump in on the love side, Rishi. We need another love person. I'm going to do it.
Adam.
I'm going to do it. Listen,
can you be more like Matt McConaughey though?
No, I'll be Adam Dorsey. I like Adam Dorsey better. No, I mean the archetype of the king is actually a servant, right? The king isn't somebody who goes out and decrees, follow me. The king is somebody who is sort of chosen. It's that like hesitancy, that person that steps up to lead. And that's a place of when you step into service, fear is not as involved. You know, when you're living in purpose, you're living moment to moment to moment to moment. And when you're rooted in that, it starts to be devoid of fear. Fear doesn't, it's like that old analogy, like fear is false evidence appearing real. When you're rooted in purpose, that kind of just starts to fade away a little bit.
Yeah, and with that being said, I'm gonna throw something in there too. Like, thank you, Adam, for joining the conversation. I'm gonna bring something up with you, Adam. So you better watch out. Get ready for my question for you. But does the other side, the politics side, have anything to say about fear and anything with accordance to what was just said?
I can't say that my answer is necessarily rooted in politics, but I agree that we have to learn to step out of our comfort zone. That's where all of the growth happens. And part of it is that we really have become isolated many people are kind of isolated in specific social circles. And I think practicing something that could be called bubble hopping can be really helpful, where you try to spend time with people that are totally different from yourself. I know it's a lot harder with the quarantine, but just trying to listen, trying to learn, and trying to really expose yourself to different ideas, I think is so important to learning about what exists on all these different sides and why the dispute is happening in the first place.
I have a.
This
Sorry,
this might not sound very political, but I do agree that, you know, fear is in all of us, and understanding that that's in us is important too, and that why we have fear is also important. That's one of the most fundamental feelings that we have as humans. I mean, it keeps us sometimes even safe. So when you see nowadays in the political spectrum, a lot of rhetoric that ignites more fear, and sadly, with media and maybe too much access to media communication, social media, I mean, it's everywhere. And now, even if you don't have social media, when you're driving, you can see billboards. I mean, it's all over. So it's hard not sometimes to get caught up on the messages and where the certain groups of people are kind of trying to guide you to. And, you know, we see this in the power of, you know, marketing and like other things where, you know, I mean, is again, like understanding where your fear is coming from, sitting with it. I heard that earlier. And sometimes sitting with fear can be so powerful, but it can also be a place of privilege. You know, people crossing the border today, refugees asking for asylum, they cannot sit with their fear, because other type of fear, like not being able to provide for their families, is greater than the fear of crossing the border and maybe being separated by their families. So, you know, it just plays out in so many ways. And I have definitely seen in the latest, you know, years through like our political process, how they have used storytelling in a way that ignites, you know, more fear. And what is the antidote to fear? It's like love, understanding, acceptance, diversity, you know. So how do we also bring some balance and understand the duality on these things? And that as much as maybe we're fearful about something, about the pandemic, about getting sick, about never coming out of the house, or never being able to go to a restaurant, God forbid, again, you know. So, you know, understanding that fear and understanding that there is another side out there that might be exciting to discover can be something that can help with, like, as an antidote to like all the and, you know, turn off the news once in a while, friends. I mean, I'm in the political, like, turn on the music and move your body a little bit, or work out, or jump around, whatever it is that you like to do, go swimming in the ocean. You know, it's good to connect with the earth, you know. And as an environmentalist, I can tell you that's deeply like the very reason why I do the work that I do, because I know of the healing powers of nature. You know, so sometimes just turn it off, don't check so much Instagram, and, you know, go and talk to a tree and sit and take a deep breath and you know, understand that these too shall pass.
Ada, what mushrooms are you doing? Hook me up with those tree talking mushrooms.
Right?
That's fun, guys. Was Saatvik, you were about to say something?
Well, Aura, you kind of covered it, but like, you know, what I found to be the two foolproof ways to reduce fear in my life: cut the cord. I don't have cable anymore, so I don't watch Fox or CNN or MSNBC or the alphabet soup of all the different kind of news channels. And then, you know, I've worked in social media for the past 5 years, like running national brands and stuff. And I found that, like, the moment I turned off my notifications on my phone, my fear of the world like disappeared, because I wasn't constantly like looking at my phone, comparing myself to other people, but also in doing that, like just seeing tons and tons of terrible news articles. And the third piece, which kind of Kate, you talked about, which I think I acknowledge that, like, there's certain privilege in being an able-bodied man in what I'm about to say, is that, like, just like meet people you're supposed to be afraid of, right? Like what I found is that the way we're painted in the media and by our leaders is that we're monoliths. So if you're a Trump supporter, you are every single thing that Trump says. And if you're a progressive, you're every single thing that, you know, AOC says. And there's no nuance into who I actually am or why I actually believe things that I do. But I found, you know, I worked at a place that was like relatively conservative in both my last two jobs. So I know lots of conservatives and Trump supporters, and they're not who they're painted to be. And I'm not who they're painting me to be, right? Whatever Rush Limbaugh says about me, it's not true, right? Like, I'm not that guy. I'm someone different. And I found that, like, when I have these conversations with people, we end up seeing a much different kind of individual who isn't always a racist or a socialist or an X or a Y. It's like, oh no, this is just like my friend Ben, and he's just Ben. And Ben is worried about X, Y, and Z, and he's proud of X, Y, and Z, and he voted because of this thing. And that's really what it is. It's like, we're not all just one blanket person.
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh
when
my
you
God.
remove that. Yeah,
oh my gosh, dude, you guys, Saatvik, bro. Like, Adam, I just came up with a new party. You ready? Can we start the friend party? The friends party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just friends, you know?
I'm into that. Yes.
Like instead of like, I think united would be good, but that's still kind of a like, what about just a friend party? Like we're just gonna be friends.
Yeah, we're just friends.
Hey, are you going to the party? Are you going to the party where it's like just a friends party?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. That being said, let's kind of like bring the participants into this. You guys are freaking awesome so far, but let's see. But before I even get there, Adam, I would love really quickly, bro, for you to kind of like, since you are jumping into this love space, what is your experience with politics and being involved? And then like, how, like you're kind of like in this weird space. I know personally that like you exude love and like in your life and what you do for, and your service for others and creating spaces and community and everything, especially even as an actor, amazing what you do and able to channel, right? As an artist and a lover, but you've also been involved politically. And so maybe you could share your background.
Yeah,
where you're at.
cool. I'm going to give you an abridged version just for sake of time. So some people don't know this about me. I used to work in politics. I worked for Governor Schwarzenegger back when he was in office in 2006, and I was his deputy Los Angeles fundraiser. And so my job was working at high-end fundraising events. And basically what I did was for anything over $10,000 or more, most of those things aren't something that's a phone call. It's an actual event. You sit down, you meet the governor, and you're giving 10 grand, okay? When I started working in that space, I did very well. I excelled at it. And I started getting promotions, and I ended up being somebody who did high-end fundraising. And what I saw was that the people who were at the very top, or the corporations that were at the very top, didn't really care so much about political ideology. It was more about what can you do for me? It wasn't about Republican or Democrat. It was what can you do for me? And so there's a giant elephant in the room that we have not discussed, is that the very nature of a two-party system is specifically designed to keep people arguing about emotional topics, i.e. something like abortion or gay marriage, which of course are important issues, but in the day-to-day of most common Americans, they don't factor in. And yet so many people are making their voting decisions based on that. And what it does is it draws you out of a practical or pragmatic form of making decisions and puts you into an emotional way of making decisions. And so that is specifically by design. The people at the top, they don't give a shit. They'll give Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is keeping a populace that is controlled and divided. And so I think, for me, I transitioned and moved out of that. I got offered a job to work in policy for Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2007 after the election, and I turned it down. And I moved into becoming an artist and an actor and a yoga teacher. Thank you, Kumi Yogini. And I never really looked back, because I thought that the whole thing was honestly pro wrestling. That's why I'm wearing my Hulkamania thing. It's because the whole thing's fake. It's used to, at least on a national level, it's used to keep people arguing about shit that doesn't matter while the ownership class goes to the bank. That's my short end shtick of it.
So yeah, thank you, Adam. And I think that's kind of why, like, how can there be love if there's fake, right? Falsitude. To me, like a lot of times love is connection, compassion, truth is like exudes love. And then like, if the space itself doesn't have it, whoa, like what'll happen? Oh my gosh. It's when we say we're in a crisis possibly. But with that being said, what's going on, Adam, in the chat? Like,
yeah, some great stuff in the chat. Really awesome to be involved with you guys. Thank you for getting involved. It's been great so far. One of the questions that came up, and we'll float this out to you guys because my friend's camera isn't on, and I'm not calling on somebody if your camera's not on. But a good question was, is it a luxury to not get involved in politics? Meaning, lower class and the poor have to be involved in politics because their very life depends upon it. Is it a luxury to not get involved? And if you are doing so, are you then not doing your civic duty? That's the question. I guess let's throw that out to the love side. Is it a luxury to not be involved? How about Kumi or Abram? What do you think about that?
All I'm gonna say to the love side is, oh boy.
That's a tough one.
I would say it's both a luxury and, for people who are struggling day to day, hand to mouth, for a lot of them, maybe being actively political isn't even an option for them, or being able to inform, like spend the time and energy that it takes to properly inform yourself of even what's in your own best interest is probably near impossible. And I would say even for myself, my experience has been, even though I have a fairly solid political ideology, I'll say, it's very difficult to understand what is actual truth and what the world is actually, what is the actual world right now. So at the same time, it's only been recently where I feel the politics has been really affecting me. And I think that's part of the reason why we're having, I think that's the theme of 2020, is that the decisions of the politics are affecting everybody right now. And, only recently have I really felt how politics can really affect my life. So I don't know. At the end of the day, is it a luxury or a curse to not be able to be active in politics? I'm not sure, but
Kumi, what do you think?
I think it's both. I think it's a luxury because it's a luxury not to be involved, but it's also you need to have resources to be informed. So if you don't have those resources, how can you be involved?
Yeah, other side.
Or jump in there.
I know.
I see you on the chat, girl. I see you on the chat. Get in here.
Say it, girl. I mean, we're talking about privilege, and I have to agree with Abram that, some people they can't even do that. They can't even, and look, and look about, sometimes it's kind of like, and for my yogis, this is like a show, with the mindful folks, I'm a mindful person too, so I get it. But it's kind of like what Thich Nhat Hanh used to say about the garden. If your cilantro is not growing, you're not going to the cilantro and screaming at it and being like, why aren't you growing? Like, what's wrong with you? You go and look at the soil. Is it getting enough sun? Are we putting enough water? Is the soil fertile enough to help it grow? Is there animals in there? So when we see people that are not getting civically involved, we have to look at the conditions of why. I mean, look at what's happening in Georgia, where like literally for people to vote is like a part-time job. Like they have to take off work. They have to drive miles. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 miles. I'm talking about 30 miles in rural Georgia, where like you have to present your ID. I mean, there's a lot of different obstacles. We don't even have a holiday yet where we can where voting, for example, is a holiday, so people can just like in other countries, you can just go and vote, and it's a national holiday. So it's important to understand why people don't get involved and why people don't vote, and it's a privilege actually. I wouldn't call it a luxury, but I would call it more of a privilege to be able to exercise your vote. And if you have that privilege, a lot of people can vote because they don't even have, they're not even eligible to vote in this country. I was an undocumented student for many years at the beginning when I first arrived here, and I couldn't vote. But all of the rest of the people that were voting for me, whether I liked it or not, and whether I was involved or not, that was also affecting me. So actually, for those of us that are, civically engaged, we carry double the responsibility for those that can do it. And for those that maybe are not, allowed to vote, or for those that have 3 jobs and can make it to, to the voting place. Or, I mean, there is just so many ways, and voter suppression is a real thing too, that we also have to, acknowledge.
That just, I had to say, they took our jobs. They took our job.
Could I add that I think it's actually like a 3-tiered ladder? Adam, when you asked the question, you kind of said that like the working class, like they have to be involved with politics. I think that was roughly what you were saying. Is that correct?
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute. Yeah. Basically, yes.
So I think that I've worked in politics in a variety of capacities for a long time, and the working class is actually not involved with politics. They don't have the privilege to be involved with it because they're actually trying to work for a living and work like 2 jobs, 3 jobs, all like larger. There's 1,000 obstacles. Someone like me who works in politics it's a privilege to be able to do so, because let me tell you, and like, I think a couple of you have also worked in politics, you don't get paid a lot of money. So to be able to say, I'm going to not make a lot of money on purpose to work in politics is a privilege. So I think like you have working class folks whose greatest exposure is either some sort of local organizing or voting. That's like here, right? Then there's people like myself who get to work in politics, and I can only do it because I'm privileged. And then I would say that this next tier is the folks who can say, I don't really care, because for whatever the reason is, it means ultimately that like what happens, what elected officials do doesn't impact you enough to like make you get involved. And I'm not saying that people have to like make politics all consuming like I have, which is a foolish thing to do. I'd make like a really clear delineation between like when I'm working, when I'm with my family and my friends and stuff. But like, you know, like you said, Adam, the folks at the very top are like, I'm going to give you money and I'm going to give you money because ultimately do stuff for me. And that's why they're involved, because they don't really care about abortion or healthcare or trans rights or whatever. They care about their bottom line. And that's why like our president right now donated to Hillary and to other like, you know, Republicans. And he donated to everyone because he's just like, he's got to get his back covered. So I think it's like, there's like 3 tiers. And then there's, 4, because billionaires are like the 4th tier where they're like, fuck it, I'll do what I want.
Then there's the ones who pay the billionaires. Oh shit.
That's us. We pay them.
Oh,
they're taking our money.
Adam, is there any other questions or anything coming from?
Yeah.
Can I say something about this topic?
Oh,
yeah,
I do too. Yeah. Sorry. So just to draw on that, you know, it has been a recurring theme for me every time that I'm doing my research on the ballot. And it literally, each year, it will take me like 3 whole entire days to do my research. And I know that working class people do not have that amount of time on their hands for them to get educated on what is on the ballot. And I think that, you know, our whole entire ballot access system has been exploiting how uninformed voters are for a very long time. Most of these measures are feel-good measures, or they're like Trojan horses, where the voters are really only reading a couple lines as to what the premise of the issue is, and they don't have the time to read the fine print. So even the people who have actually dedicated the time to vote at all ultimately are not educated enough to really make a decision based on the facts. So I think that for a lot of people, definitely it is a privilege. I think, you know, I've kind of used that idea when it comes into conversation with someone where I feel like they are not part of that group of people that are like really living in survival mode. And I feel like I can pretty much tell that they already have some level of monetary privilege, and yet they don't ever want to talk about politics. And I think that when it comes to that, not even wanting to engage on the issues does show that they are kind of in a position of privilege where it's not life or death for them. It's not a matter of survival. It's not a matter of being able to live as who they are. So it's not of importance for them to actually engage. And those are the people for whom I think that it becomes a privilege, or sorry, that it is not a privilege, but that.
And so
that's so spot on. Those are the folks who say, I'm socially liberal, fiscally conservative, which really means you don't fucking care about people. You just want your money in your back pocket. And that's what they want to talk about.
Well, I've called myself that before, but I think
you do so much amazing work. There's no way you can be that way.
Well, I think it's important to be able to determine how we are spending our money, because I know that there is a lot of waste in the system, and it's not that I don't want to spend money on people where I believe that it will have a big impact, but I think a lot of people who consider themselves fiscally conservative also see that there is a colossal amount of waste on programs that are never actually finalized. Or for an example, something I was thinking about today for Los Angeles specifically is that because it is an area where so many people are constantly moving here, those people who move here, we don't have, like, I've been here only for like 1.5 years, under 2 years. So we don't actually know all the history of everything that has been asked for and that has been approved. So for example, when they want to raise money for say, educational facility repairs, many of us might not realize that we've already approved bonds like 3 different times, or there's various other issues where we don't have that back history. And so we just are like, oh, that sounds good.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a really good point. All that we have. Wait, actually, Adam, I saw somebody wanted to share a point about.
Lisa Hardy, would you like to jump on in there, my friend?
Yeah, hi, thanks. I just wanted to talk about income inequality, and it goes right into this whole idea of privilege, because if you think, and also the polarization of politics in general, because if you think about the people that can actually join in politics, is you're either somebody like the Koch brothers who have $1 billion to like do whatever you want, or you're somebody that's like a student or a college student that's like very politically active because you have the time, or it doesn't matter because you don't have, you're not working a lot at this point. You don't have like kids that you're taking care of. You're not poor where you're like having 3 jobs to go to. So it tends to go into this polarization spot where like you have Republican, white, rich men, and then like college Antifa. And this like polarization has like gotten out of control because of this income inequality. And also the whole idea of, I saw on Twitter where they were asking like, who is the kindest president that we've had? And almost everybody said Carter. And I was like, I love Carter, but he was so ineffective as a president. And the kindest person that I thought was FDR, because FDR went against his people, did a robust plan of allocating wealth to different people and had a jobs program. And I think he was the kindest because, and I want more Democrats to be that way, that are really ballsy and that actually take risks, versus Obama did some really great stuff, but I feel like he was a little bit too protected.
Lisa, do you think that Eleanor dropped some like LSD or like mushrooms and Franklin Roosevelt? Because but like on a really serious note though, Eleanor Roosevelt was a really powerful woman who like stepped up, but she was a woman. She wasn't like trying to be like a man, right? She was like she was still a mother. She was had a loving, divine feminine about her, but she also like FDR almost died, and then he had this like spiritual the duty. I mean, we know when people almost die and they recover, what happens to most people, right? So like, is that, so maybe that's a good question to throw in there with the love and the politics side. Like, is it possible, like, would that be beneficial in this political space for people to have these like spiritual, what breakthroughs, or Adam, what they call like the eat, pray, love moments, right? For more people.
I mean, they have many different names. Coming to Jesus moment, a transcendental moment, something that wakes you up to the all, to the God inside of me.
With Trump, so I mean, there's only certain people that can happen to, but it didn't happen to Trump.
I will throw this out there. In India, in ancient India, that we have that circle, that wheel that's in the middle of the flag, the Indian flag. Ashoka, he was actually a horrible king. It was a tyrant, and he like got touched with Buddhism, and he flipped, and he like became one of the best kings, unifying kings in the history of mankind, right? But like somebody, so it's possible with these kind of things. I'm throwing that out there. If you guys have any thoughts about that, or if the audience, or if Adam, I also want to open.
People have awakenings, and I think at some point it would be great if we all do and come to, to our senses. But, one good example is Malcolm X, like he found Mohammed in jail, and look at what he became, very influential figure in the African American culture. I feel like this is what I was trying to get to at the beginning when I spoke about show up to your community when you have done the work, and not just the work about learning what patriarchy and and white supremacy or privilege or like all these terminology that we've been throwing around, but also like why are you really showing up and and like to help and to support and to be in politics. A lot of people run for office because it's pure ego. A lot of people just love the spotlight. A lot of people don't really care about, their self-interest is very different than mine. Let me just not judge it. But
it's just different than mine. I ran for office because I deeply care about my community and because I thought I could do better than what my elected official was doing. You know, but a lot of other people don't. A lot of people feel like, well, I just gonna run because I can, you know. So and they do it. So I think in our individual awakening, we're gonna also experience a collective awakening, I'm hoping, because if it's true that everything that happens to me is a reflection of what happens to you, and the other way around, you know, there's no other way to, you know, there's no other way for that to kind of take place.
Yeah, what do you think, Kumi? You've worked with so many people, you know, especially being a yoga teacher and yoga teacher training. Do you think there's some importance to spiritual evolution in the political space? How does that work? Is there a place for that?
Well, I think the individual awakening is internal. The institutional awakening is in politics. So it's a coming together of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can I add to that? I think part of the sort of the disparity that is happening nowadays is that, unfortunately, the First Amendment right, freedom to speech, and our ability to say, yes, we stand for this, or, oh, we are supporting this, has been fundamentally kind of stepped on by the media, by people around us, that if you don't speak into the listening of what I believe, then I don't even want to hear it. And so with regards to politics, some people, maybe you call it privilege, that they just step back and say, hey, I don't want to be a part of this because people aren't listening. People don't want to hear what I have to say because I don't agree with what they say. And it's unfortunately the beauty of, you know, this country is that we have so many cultures and we have so many people and we have so many differing opinions and ideas and things. And that, I feel like, unfortunately, because it's become a pay-for-play system, that unless you are part of what the machinery is sort of pumping out, whether it be, you know, whatever that is, the flavor of the month, then you're sort of, you know, there's no opportunity to really have a discussion and change. So it's kind of beautiful what we're doing here, because it allows some space and allows some growth in terms of having people listen and hear differing opinions on things. So thank you for creating this, that hopefully it will start to create a ripple in the pond into, you know, bigger and bigger change.
Yes, so that's, you know, thank you. And that's a, you know, a good question. The next segue question to throw at everybody is, you know, what is wisdom in relation to love, right? What's wisdom in relation to love or politics? Like how does wisdom play out? Like, what is up with wisdom and how do we cultivate it? And then how do we apply it to both of those spaces? How do they show up? Anybody want to take a shot at that? Wisdom. What do we consider?
Indy, I'm sorry.
Say again?
Can you repeat the question?
So the question is, how does wisdom relate to love? And also, how does it relate to politics, or does it relate to both together? Like, are they connected, or are they related, or are they separate? The wisdom of love.
We actually, can I jump in there? We had in the chat, Alyssa had kind of alluded to this before. So Alyssa, would you like to jump in there for a second?
Sure. Hello, everybody. Thanks for everything. This is wonderful conversation. I think it's really important. And yes, I had asked in the question, you know, how important is history in this conversation and the history of politics? Because Lisa made a comment about Obama that for me, and, you know, for me, it's always a great conversation to have if you understand, you know, what Obama actually went into and the years before Obama, and Obama was our first Black president. I mean, so many things I think come into that question of, you know, when we start to discuss, like, if you're disappointed in presidents or, you know, people's political opinions, I think it's extremely important that we understand the history of this country. You understand the history of, you know, people that don't look like you. And I just wonder from each side, like, do you think politics, the history of politics is important? And I think wisdom is history. That's my opinion.
Or her story.
yeah, I mean, I think the older you are, I mean, that's the wisdom and that's history, and it's kind of like elders, just that's where it's at.
Yeah, anybody want to go for it?
Yeah, I'll jump in there. Can you mind if I jump in? When I was, 18 through 22, I read a lot of Noam Chomsky and I read a lot of Howard Zinn. And I'll relate this to like a relationship, okay? When you are exposed to red flags in a relationship, you then subsequently see those red flags quicker. You guys dig what I'm saying? So the more you are in tune with our own political history, the more you're able to pick some up when some bullshit starts arising. You're like, oh, I see you. This has been done before. Or there's think tanks that are in Washington that are specifically designed to come up with like little catchphrases and shit that then the media peppers through. And when you have been acclimated to wisdom, AKA history, you are able to see those red flags quicker. And then those things do not repeat itself. If you do not know history, it tends to repeat itself. That's what my father always said. And I agree with you, Dad.
Oh, thank you, Dadas everywhere. Papajis.
Yeah.
Thank you. Babajis. Anybody politics side?
I think it's a little tricky because the wisdom that we're talking about can come from so many different perspectives and different experiences. So someone's sort of the wisdom that they have acquired from other generations or from their own experiences or things that they have come into contact with might be totally different from someone else's wisdom. And I think it goes back to the idea of how we need to engage with more diversified groups of people, because sometimes people believe that they have a lot of wisdom, but it's really limited to their own experience standpoint.
Anybody else? I'm gonna go to the last person, but anybody else want to make a comment from either side?
Riffing off of the dad comment, my dad had a piece of wisdom he told me when he found out I wanted to go into politics, which is that the laws are written by the rich for the rich. And I think when you enter into any political sphere, you need to understand that thing. Because I think it really is true. And then based on that fact, you decide how you want to respond to it. Do you want to fight that kind of system? And then if you do, you have to make certain choices. And if you don't, and you're like, that's fine, I just want to get along by, going along, I don't believe that, but like, if that is your thing, then like, go for it. But I think like that is the truth behind it, right? Adam said in the beginning, when he was doing fundraising, he met with like huge corporate folks who were like, hey, I'll give you the money. And like the most important laws, the tax code, the healthcare laws, like it's not written by me or anyone in this room. It's written by insurance executives. It's written by banking executives. We know it. It's happening again with Biden. Like the people that are going to go into this administration are not going to be radically different.
Yep. Same.
My personal opinion, like I was a Bernie guy. Biden, like the people who like, I remember going to a women's march in Philly, and I saw a sign that said, if Hillary were president, I would be at brunch. And I think that's like, that's very off topic. Never mind. I think the wisdom is like, you have to know that the system is built a certain way. And once you understand that the system is a certain way, you have true agency to decide how you want to respond to that thing. But until you understand that wisdom, like you're just gonna be flailing in the wind, because you won't know what you're dealing with. You'll just be kind of like in this naive world. But like, once you understand that thing, you can tackle it.
Can I draw on that with a quick example? So
go for it.
We look at like really great example, like my dad, when I would talk about, traffic stops where, people get hurt. And I remember talking to him about that. And he was like, if you don't follow orders, expect the worst. And that was something that he saw as like a piece of wisdom that really everyone should know and that should be common knowledge. But there was another aspect of wisdom that he sort of was missing, which is being in the experience of someone who is discriminated against and is part of a group that often faces violence from police and who are often extremely racist. And I think that there is that natural reaction mode where people cannot access the wisdom because they're in survival reaction mode. And I think that there is an element of love and spirituality where we learn to take that second, take that moment to take a breath and pause and think about what our reactions are going to be before we react. And that can go for both parties involved. And I think that it's such a crucial thing in our interactions with anyone that we're able to monitor our reactions as they come up. And I think that self-knowledge is really so important in politics and in love.
Excellent. And before we, there's one more question or comment from somebody. I want to acknowledge them really quickly. Bahar, do you want to pop on? Bahar?
Yeah, almost everybody covered a lot of the points I wanted to say, but I wanted to say that the thing that matters most in any circumstance, whether it's politics or, you know, legislation or anything, is context. And sometimes the context of what existed when some of these laws were created were actually relevant and they served a purpose, even though they're serving the opposite purpose now. And just understanding kind of the history and what goes around of why a certain law is created, it makes it easy to understand. Like a person brought up the insurance example, and it's not that lay people don't understand the process. I mean, everybody's going to experts if they want any tech advice. They're going straight to Silicon Valley if they want insurance advice. And of course, lobbying is a problem with all sorts of legislation. But in this context, like, we can't go directly to the point that this is a negative thing. There's still a legislation process after the rules have been written. And there's understanding the basic logic that businesses want to be protected from any raise in cost and having to take care of citizens. And somehow the government also doesn't want to pick up that slack, but they pass these rules and legislations because of lobbying, because of that connection. So what allows for that to happen? We could either go keep, you know, getting involved or fighting, or each side fighting the other side to kind of gain following, or we can take this to understand that our rule-making process is broken or our laws are broken. And instead of relying on the lawmakers who are breaking it or disrespecting, bending, whatever of the rules in the process, we go straight to the rules and see how we can actually fix the rules. When I met Indy, you know, earlier a few months ago, I started being passionate about this whole amending the Constitution. I'm an attorney by trade, so if there's a lot of legalese, that's the background. But I started really getting passionate about, there's so much division. What does this mean? It's the lack of clarity in the laws. Like, if we have to disclose man, woman, LGBTQ, that means our society has reached a point where we're acknowledging that diversity exists. So why do we need to keep reinforcing this? Why not just amend the Constitution to say gender neutrality? That way no state can create laws against it anymore. It's done. We go straight.
Bahar, let me ask you a question so we could put it in reference. So what you're saying is on point. How does love play into that? Like, what's going on? Like that, like what you just said, can love be put into the legislation? Since you are a lawyer and you're studying a constitutional law, can love be something that gets put into our laws?
I think love is the premise of law, especially in the US. Like, I'm an immigrant. I've lived under different, governments. And I would say this is in the US legal system, at least from my personal experience, it's the most visible with that First Amendment example. Like, laws are written to give people rights. Giving people rights is because of love. If you don't love something, you don't give it rights. It's furniture. But what's complicated things is in politics. Politics exists because our communication system wasn't strong enough to handle all this news coming out. So they created these positions with mayors and governors to pass down information. Now that these technological advancements exist, we need analytics. Like, if I pay this amount of money of my taxes, I can likely choose, even in a Google Forms, where I want my money to go, and then check if it was spent correctly. It's not technologically impossible. What makes it impossible is politicians don't want this sort of transparency, because why would they have jobs? Like, when you bring technology into a corporation, first people who are fired are middle management, not upper and not employees who are creating. It's mid-level. That's what these people are. So what complicates the process isn't love or politics or technology or lack thereof. What complicates the process is money, is being able to pay to have the love for you become more important than the love for other people. Like, it's gold diggers being in power who sell their love, and that's the problem with the system. So to fix that system, it's going to keep on happening. Like, foreign governments can lobby, companies can lobby, nonprofits can lobby. I think I know they can donate.
Can we lobby?
Yes, but the whole point is now take that away, take lobbying away, level out the playing field. Now they really have to listen to citizens. Like, employees go where their paychecks come from. These people, public servants, no matter their intentions, like high or low, whatever, they're public servants. They have to go where the funding comes from, and they have to pay attention to those people. So now if you don't have your lobbying lunches and dinners scheduled, you're more likely to schedule a town hall or something to listen to what people want. And when you have local events, when you have a lot of mail coming and attention, like I feel like this is a very spiritual group from what I've listened to. Whatever you give your love and attention to grows. We've been giving our love and attention to division and a broken system, and it's growing. So we have to divert our attention to something better. And it's not talking about like whatever problems these people are highlighting. I think it's, as individuals, taking a look at our own problems in our homes and our communities. Like, healthcare, like this year, anything related to health is a big deal. Like, maybe last year it was student loans or something else, or whatever else. Then you have racial division. That's been a historical problem that's now at its advance. How does that affect our communities? How can we vote and effectuate change locally? Because change either comes from the top, which needs money, or comes from the bottom, which needs numbers. So if you come with numbers or you come with money, coming with numbers just needs you and I and these types of conversations. That's all it needs. And it can grow, and it can grow to much stronger than what money can build. Because when we grow, we will bring our own $1, $10 each person, and we will have even more money. And the people who follow money, which is usually a good 30 to 40% of the population only work for money, follow our money. So I really think like my personal approach to things, or independence, is really important. So find the group of friends, or that party of friends of independent people wanting to really be able to build an independent party. And with that intention, you leave money out, and love always wins. And if you just make it a test between love and money, love wins. It's not that difficult.
Bahar, we're starting the friends party, so we can, talk about that. But by the way, also, I took two things from what you said. Number one, whenever you're running for something, you got my vote. So you got my vote, number one. Number two, I got from there that we can maybe put love into, and be more conscious about putting love into our legislation, like somehow finagling that in there and making that us creating legislation to actually put love into there and putting spirituality into it, acknowledging people's spirituality, acknowledging their journeys, and giving them that opportunity. So thank you, Bahar. So we're about to like wrap up really, and then end with everybody's kind of like final little short spiels. So all y'all debaters, please get yourselves ready for that little final comment that you get to say and get that organized. But before we get there, Adam, is there anybody else wants to drop a quick dime, a conscious dime? Anybody else? Last call.
I don't have any other questions in the chat, unless there's anybody else that just wants to jump in there.
Just a quick one, just a quick, like a dime.
You got one.
Come on, guys.
Christina.
Well, I want to encourage somebody to come and share, someone who's been, in the witness of this. You guys all have perspectives and input, and it's really important that we have the space to share it. So I would encourage, if you have anything to say and share, please do.
Yeah.
Can I share something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I just share with you all just a full story of how politics can impact your life? I'm actually gonna be sharing this story publicly on my Instagram. I did a story of this story. Basically, I met a domestic worker that was working for somebody in my spiritual and entrepreneur community, it was his nanny for 30 years. She raised him and his brother in Manhattan. And he referred her to me at the age of 73. And he asked me, you know, Elisa, can you help her find work? And I was like, she's 73. And then she told me she was homeless. And the reason she was homeless was because his family didn't pay her on the books, because that's actually not a law. If you're a domestic worker, there's actually no law protecting you. So it's at your discretion. You know, I could have a nanny or a housekeeper and choose whether or not to pay them on or off the books. Now, as a white woman in America, I've never had this issue. I've never had an issue with getting paid on the books. I've never had an issue with getting health insurance because it's not a white problem. And I have an agency in New York. It's an anti-racist staffing agency for a reason, because we make sure that anybody we're working with is paying all the immigrants and the Black women that are working with us fairly on the books. They're not mistreating people, because this is real. And that's the full circle. And if there was a law in place, that would not have happened to Anne. She wouldn't be in a homeless shelter right now. But the good thing is we got her a voucher, and she's in a Best Western on the Lower East Side, and she's gonna be out of the homeless shelter sooner than later. But, you know, like, that's a reality for a lot of people that are in the working class, domestic workers, and women. And that's what I'm fighting for. I'm with all of you in that space.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alyssa. Amazing. Amazing. And with that being said, I'm going to throw this first and foremost, we'll go backwards with how we started. I'm going to throw it out to Kate. Kate, can you get us started? You have a couple of minutes, please share final comments.
Final comments. Something that came to mind for me was just within my world of the psychedelic space. I think it's really interesting that pretty much the biggest corporate contributor to this movement, and probably one of the biggest contributors at all, is actually Dr. Bronner's, which I think is very interesting in the context that he sort of built his empire on this one love, one God kind of premise, and that spirituality is so much a part of his brand. And just seeing how he actually used that to give back in the political world is pretty amazing, because these are the people that we're going to need, because we do need money on our side. But we need to find money in really novel places with people who actually have ideals that are so much greater than money, and they're using the financial system as a tool to try to enrich our society on a much greater level.
Yes, psychedelic research. Holla! Awesome. Thank you, Kate. And I hope you stick around for the after party. We'll share more about that. So if people want to connect with you more, that'd be awesome if you want to get them on board. And please share, you know, on Instagram. But yeah, like, check it out. There's a lot you're doing. So maybe you could turn people on towards a cause that relates to them. Thank you, Kate. I'm going to flip it over to Abram.
Absolutely. So I can't figure out for the life of me why we don't hold our leaders accountable, and why anyone is allowed to be a leader without really sitting with plant medicine, at least like maybe 5 ceremonies before able to hold office. You know, if you're not even able to confront yourself, how can you confront leading the world? So that's kind of like, oh, I guess learning to love yourself is in that whole path as well. And I think that on that vein, if we can get make our container larger, make it so that we can take care of ourselves better, take care of our families better, we'll have more getting our own lives in order. That will help enable us to then support others. If you can't even keep your head above water, how can you be in a giving situation? So doing what you can do for any kind of self-improvement, and connecting with source, connecting with God, connecting with love, learning how to love yourself again is the most important thing I think that we are engaged in. And I think that our politics, I think, is a reflection of that. I mean, I don't think anybody here wouldn't agree that the issues that Trump has on a personal level hasn't affected each of us. since he is unable and unwilling to look at himself and to love himself, we've all suffered. So with that, continue to connect with yourself, continue to take care of yourself. And that's what I have to say for that.
Beautiful, Abram. And please, everybody, check out what he's doing. Transformational coach too, if people are looking and exploring away. By the way, if you check out what Abram does, he's a badass, like calisthenics, everything, yoga. He's awesome. So he can teach you how to be a ninja warrior if you want ninja warrior yourself out there. But also at the same time, I want to piggyback on what you said. Whenever I've hung out with indigenous cultures, even indigenous or Indian, some like anywhere around the world, I've noticed counselship, like the beauty of like having counselship and seeing like elders coming together, like spiritually, but also making decisions for the community, but they also come together spiritually too. Like, and they do like, not in the middle of the woods, burning some effigy or whatever of an owl, but like more so coming together and to improve themselves and connect with nature before they're making decisions. I see that consistently in like healthy indigenous communities. But anyways, next person, let's throw it over. Thank you, Abram. Next person, let's throw it over to, who did we started with? We can throw it over to Aura. Oh, there you go.
Never mind. I got it. All right. So what do I want to leave you guys with? Sometimes we turn into the other, the candidate, the elected official, the president, the mayor, for the answers that we need to, bring forward. So for me, it's about getting involved. I think everyone, other folks have spoken about doing different practices that can help you get in touch with yourself. We've heard plant medicine, we've heard, experimenting with psychedelics. Whatever it is that you do, whether you want to run for office, whether you're an elected official, whether you're just an individual, just please get involved. Because I see often, and as someone that is very involved in the political process and with like different, circles, I see often that people love to blame what's going on, but they don't want to do anything about it. And this is also our responsibility. So as much as we hate, or are heartbroken about homelessness, so then get involved. Get involved and find out how you can also be part of the solution and not just part of the problem. Participate. For my Burning Man people, raise your hand, put a little heart in, somewhere. We know that it's all about participating. So we also need to take those principles out of the playa and bring them to our regular world and be more inclusive, be more accepting of who we are. And again, just take the time to participate and do it for those that don't have the privilege to do it.
Do you relinquish your time? Thank you, Ada. And that's wonderful that you say that, because it is so awesome when we like experience that kind of love and that compassion, but we take it to another level and we actually create hope for people by being involved. Like that's like, to me, that's the best dopamine release. Like when I'm of service to others, like it's like, oh my God, I'm getting high from it. And I have psychedelic experiences now, I'm not even joking. Like being in service to other people literally gets me high. I love it. Not, there's like biology behind it. Okay, guys, relax. Thank you, Ada. Next, let's bring on Kumi. Kumi, what are your final thoughts?
Well, I just want to say that I love and appreciated what everyone all the topics that have been touched upon. And it's interesting that we're living in a culture where people love things and use people. But we need to live in a world where we love people and use things. And those mindful choices on a day-to-day basis, from the time that we wake up in the morning to what we put into our bodies, through the foods that we eat, the music we listen to, what we're watching on television, it all has an impact on our mind and consciousness. So we have to put good things in it. And like Aura said, just get out there and be a part of the solution and take action.
Yeah, Kumi. Awesome. Yeah. And I'll jump on what you said way at the beginning, which we all have our individual journeys. We all have our roles to play. That's the beauty of like psychology, is actually when we play our roles and we play them in the best form with each other, whoa, that's when amazing stories are made, right? Like we love stories because there's different roles in the stories. We're a part of a story, but we got to show up in our role. We have to be the best version of whatever we're doing for the community. So thank you, Kumi. That's amazing. And let's swing it over to Saatvik.
Hey, yeah. So first, this was really fun and amazing experience. I was actually super nervous going into this. I watched the one about masked versus not masked, and that one was super fucking intense. I was like, man, if I have to go into that kind of a battle space, like, I don't know if I'm cut out for it. But this was like such a beautiful experience. All the folks on love and politics here, you can, even in this not physical space, I can still like feel how amazing all of you are. They say that like the states are the laboratories of democracy. And so what good things that happen at the state level, they try and take that into a federal level. I believe that what each of us can do with like the nonprofits and the groups in our communities are laboratories for what cities and states can do. So if you have like a fucking weird idea for how to solve a problem, like talk to your friends about it and you will figure out how to make it happen. And once you've built a proof of concept, I swear to God, you can take it to your city councilor, your town meeting member, whoever it is. They're looking for solutions. Like, I don't really care too much about people in Congress and the Senate because the distance between me and them is great. The distance between me and my city councilor is really, really short. Me and like, so Aura's running for state delegate. In Texas, we have state house reps and we have state house senators. The distance between me and them is really, really short. So if you can find a solution which you build with your community, take it to a municipality and say, hey, I did this, it worked, I alleviated homelessness, I alleviated XYZ problem. They can then take that and scale it up. So don't feel powerless. I find that whenever I feel scared and alone and afraid, the best thing that I can do is to help other people. And when I do that, not only do I solve my own issue, I solve someone else's issue, and then you can scale it up and solve systematic problems. So don't be afraid. Go with love in your heart and take advantage of all the folks who you got to hear from today, because these are some really fucking amazing people. I unfortunately cannot go to the after party because I got to get dinner for my wife set up. I really wish I could be there. I'll be there next time. But like, this is how we build amazing things. This is how we change systems. And all this stuff, I think it was Kate who said, you can either have a lot of people, a lot of money at the top, or a lot of people at the bottom. Well, this is where you build a lot of people at the bottom to change what's happening at the top. And I just like cannot be more excited to live in this world at this point in time with all the bad shit happening. It means that we had the challenge and the opportunity to fix those problems. And I'm going to get to do it with all of you.
Spoken like a politician.
I hope not. I hope I was not
a loving politician. Okay,
yeah,
the kind we want to see in the world. We want to be friends with on the friend party. So thank you, Saatvik. And please give our regards to your wife and all the other good news that is brewing in the oven. And so I'm gonna give a couple of minutes, but I want to give a couple of minutes to Adam because I feel Adam, you joined the conversation, bro. What's your final comment?
First off, every day, get up in the morning and punch a kitten right in the face just to exude your power. Okay? That's number one. Just kidding. Don't punch kittens. No, I think evoke some humor into your life too. Everything about this is when we allow this to feel like a burden on us, that's when we can get beaten down by it, and so I always say connection, collaboration, and community to replace capitalism, control, and competition. And I think if you, like, to Saatvik's point, if you have a better way or you got an idea, don't be afraid to throw it out there. It's the game changers that make the change, because it's a reality of building something new that's better instead of trying to work within the confines of a given system. That's first and foremost. And then on a practical level, on a pragmatic level, is you got to get term limits into politics. That's number one. You have to remove or at least limit the amount of money that is spent when I worked for Arnold Schwarzenegger, at that point in time, we raised more money than any other gubernatorial campaign in the history of America. That was the first line on my resume for about 6 years. And it was done in such an egregious manner. And to see that the person who raises the most money is the person that wins most of the time is a real problem. And so how do we reverse that? We reverse that by building it from the base down. It's like the fool's energy is building towers of isolation in the sky, but the wise build wide the foundations of community. And so the more that we can tap into community around us, the more we can tap into our local governments, that's where the change really starts to happen. So on a pragmatic federal level, yes, you have term limits. You get rid of Citizens United, that's got to go away. Corporations are not individuals. They do not have the ability to give unlimited amounts of funds. And you work your best to get lobbyists out of Washington. That's the pragmatic things that we can do on a federal level. But we as individuals can take time to love ourselves, punch a kitten or two. Don't punch kittens. No, to love ourselves, to build community and not be afraid to throw out something better, to put yourself out there. And in doing so, that's how we create a better way forward, I think.
Amazing, Adam. And everybody just hold your horses for 3 more minutes. We have some announcements to make. So all y'all, Saatvik, I know you're going to get some like tappas, if you don't go, but hold your horses. Really quickly too, Adam, thank you all you guys. I really I have to admit for myself too, I'm so grateful that you guys all showed up. This was such a beautiful experience, but this is going to transcend, right? Like people are going to listen to this, they might tune in at different parts of this. We'll make cuts and edits, and who knows, maybe this sparks a movement. It creates a wave, it creates a ripple effect. Whether it's for love or for politics or for them coming together, whatever it's going to be. I shared something in the chat. It's a website. I'm going to share it again. This is a project that's dear to it's a baby of mine that I'm collaborating with a mother, collaborating with another woman, another programmer who's now a father. Like we really want to figure out, we have like a bunch of people all across the states that are working on this with programmers and everything. Our question is, can we make it that you earn money, that you actually earn value if you want to show up to support your community? That's the hypothesis. Doesn't matter how you show up. Like we're creating a game out of it. So if you want to be like somebody who's just a helper, or you just want to nudge other people, or you want to be a healer, or if you want to be a wizard, or you want to be whatever you want to show up there, whatever archetype, we are creating a game for you to show up in that way. So you can actually earn value back for showing up and supporting, and then also creating the funnel system for you to enact laws. Like we're just what Aura talked about earlier, like, whoa, we got this amazing technology, like, whoa. And I think Bahar brought it up too. We have amazing technology. Why don't we improve it using technology? Or we use the social media, this thing that we're used to, make it like easier and more fun and sexy to like care about your community, make it sexy and fun, and also make it so something happens. So thank you guys for checking that out. Please register. We're releasing it in later this month. So you get to actually help us make this awesome. And if you want, whatever, you can do whatever you want. And thank you all for showing up. I really have a lot of gratitude for y'all for holding space and creating this container. And we'll make more. So keep tuned for future ones. And Christina, Goddess in the Sky, are you there?
And Christina, can I ask you one question too? I love all of this in the chat. There's so much good stuff in there and so many good resources. Is there a way that we could save the chat so that we can go back and look at some of these resources that people left?
Yeah, we can save the chat. You can. It's the getting the chat to you because it's not saved. It's saved in a strange file. But my recommendation is go over to the WeDeepen Facebook group. I dropped it in the chat, and it's a great place for you all to continue the conversations and connect, especially underneath of the video. If there's any chats that you want people to check out, this is Facebook Live. And so share those links in the chat for everyone to see who is who's watching this experience later on.
Yeah, especially if you want to do some self-promotion. If you have, your podcast, whatever you do, share it because this is really good resources.
Yeah, and I'll even say it's like switch that term of like self-promotion, like share your gifts.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like not
agree.
about share your contributions, because I'll say is and thank you all. If you guys could just stick around for an additional 3 minutes, and then we'll get everyone out of here for this evening. But I definitely want to share some thoughts with you. and within that note, Adam, is that, you know, what we saw on Monday and Tuesday and still happening is on Facebook is that, you know, small business posts, like post your websites. And it's been so interesting to see all these amazing people. I imagine all of you guys are like looking at your friends like, wow, so cool. But the thing is, we're all operating so separately. There's so many individual brands, and we really need to continue to come together. I love what, who was it, had shared about that when you move to a new location, like find out what's already happening there and build upon it instead of continuing to create brand new things, like continuing to come together. So a couple of things I'll just wrap us up really quickly is this happens to be Mind Sports this evening, happens to be taking place during a gathering in DC that I stepped away from to be here and present with you all, but the Independent National Union has been formed in DC, the INU, INU.1. You can go and check it out. And they are a group of really fascinating, amazing individuals. Some of them burners are coming together to infiltrate politics. And they're gathering this week in, you know, Pierce Brock, who has made tons of money in Bitcoin. He was actually on the ballot in 16 states this year. He has given his space for us to all gather in. So check it out. And that's another resource to get involved that I will be sharing through WeDeepen as well. I am, while you are here, you know, because we didn't launch this final poll. So I'm going to launch this final poll as I finish talking here. If you guys could also vote on the last poll as well. Closing poll, opening, here we go. Oh,
they're flipped.
They flipped. Oh, sorry guys. In the flipping, it got ruined, but redesigning the new system, 100% won with the people that did get to vote into it. So let's definitely go and redesign the whole new system.
We could put plant medicine in there, you know?
We can, I think plant medicine was already discussed here this evening. So a couple of events coming up on Sunday is Clown Church. It's an improv workshop. Improv meets emotional intelligence. So come gather with us and let's play and be and enjoy. It's at noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. And also next Wednesday is Omega Male. Omega Male is a men's group for women too. And this week we're going to be discussing vulnerability and the strength that's often mistaken for a weakness, and how to inspire more men to access vulnerability. So come and join us. It's a men's group for women too. I was excited to finally now be able to be a part of a men's group. There's all types of events you can check out at WeDeepen.com. Again, I encourage you, join the Facebook group, join the WhatsApp group. I posted both of those links in here, and come and share your gifts with this community is like formulating, and it's fairly new and it's seeking leaders. So come and lead the community with us. And I think we're going to close out with some music. Indy, this was amazing tonight. Adam, amazing. All of you debaters, amazing. Thanks everyone for showing up and participating and being part of the conversation. This will go on Facebook Live. I'm sorry, it is on Facebook Live. It's going to go to stream to YouTube as well. Check out the WeDeepen channel on YouTube, all types of interesting stuff, and we'll continue to populate that as more experiences take place. And the next Mind Sports is January 6th. It's the first Wednesday monthly that these happen. Indy, do we know what the topic? Or we still need to debate on the topic?
Yeah, we have some mind sporting to do about the topic.
Amazing. Well, the link for Topia is in the chat. I'm going to drop it in the chat once more, and we're going to send us off with some music for the evening. But if anyone wants to jump over into Topia, it's a Sims type world where you can walk around and have one-on-one conversations and keep connecting as a group. Feel free to join us.
It's really fun. It's virtual. It's kind of fun. You guys might like it. And also really quickly before everybody goes, I just want to say, as like somebody who practices yoga and loves yoga, like let's also like when we're stretching and getting into those like deep stretches, let's also like laugh a little bit. Let's make sure to kind of like use that neuroplasticity that we already have and kind of get deeper into those physical stretches and those emotional ones, those ones with our family, with our loved ones, and our relationships, our friends, the people we love. Let's reach out. Let's actually take that extra step these days to reach out across the aisle, to share more love, to be more tolerant, to be more listening to other people's needs, their values. Like let's little bit more, stretch a little bit more. What do you think, Adam? Can you stretch?
I'll step in as Adam real quick, because tragedy plus time equals comedy. Tragedy plus time equals comedy. So you're stretching during yoga, which is creating space so we can get to the humor much more quickly that way.
Yo, we're going to steal that in our laughter meditations.
You know, while we're doing mushrooms with Trump and the Congress and doing a gong.
And just one last thank you, guys. I love this. We keep doing this. This is that change that we're talking about. I mean, ubiquitously across the board, the more these conversations continue to open up. And thank you, Indy, for being able to provide a space where we can do it playfully and in a compassionate, cool manner. I really dig it. It makes me really happy to do these.
You want to get down with a spiritual WrestleMania? We're going to do WrestleMania 5, WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 7 coming to you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Love
y'all.
you guys.
What happened? It goes away. What?